You too, man. What is going on? It's your boy Benji, and we are back in between the ropes. This is another episode, and I do want to appreciate each and every one of y'all for showing up and showing love. Additionally, we right there, man. We about to hit 800 subs. Man, we've been growing, and I appreciate y'all again for sliding me TV shows, movies, wrestling matches, storylines, and fights to check out, and we love it all this way. I love the community we're building, and I love that chat back and forth with y'all about all the things that we see in the entertainment world. So, y'all making it happen, man. Again, slide that like button up. Chop, man. If you're a real one. But let's get into it. We're another episode of WWE Raw, and it's only right that I provide y'all my review, my initial reactions, and really what I'm seeing out there. Let's talk about it together, man, what we saw. John Cena shows up and addresses Brock Lesnar. He mentions that Brock always shows up to attack him after a hiatus, and that it would make sense for him to stay away from Brock Lesnar. Because you know what he does? He shows up Rex's house and introduces you to Suplex City. Well, I was watching this, it made me really think about it. This run from John Cena really could have been a great opportunity to build some heels on the main rosters. I mean, let's think about it, bro. We got guys like Gunther, and that's pretty much it. Aside from that, we only really have Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, and then maybe like Dom, right? But I mean, this is literally your GOATs last year, and what have we accomplished? Nothing. That's another rant for another day. At the end of the day, John Cena accepts the match, and he mentions that his jorts are stronger than Brock's jeans. Because remember, last week, Brock Lesnar, his pants ripped, and he twerked on the camera. Yeah. Jay and LA Knight are arguing backstage, and LA mentions that he still wants to get a piece of the boys from the Vision. This dude is just vengeful, man. It looks like we're about to get another main event with the Vision because LA Knight supposedly needs a tag partner. Funny enough, he actually ends up selecting Jimmy Uso as a tag team partner, which I thought was kind of a funny choice since Jimmy Uso is a member of SmackDown for all that we know. So I don't really understand how LA Knight pulled that name out from the top of his head as if Jimmy Uso was just going to be in the building. He was just sure of that. I mean, I'm sure it was a little slight at Jay Uso. I mean, because these guys were arguing. But, I mean, again, like that was kind of a reach, right? And it was, again, a kind of a funny reach because Adam Pearce is like, bro, you can choose anybody. But he's insisting on Jimmy Uso. We do get a matchup of LYRA versus ROXXANE, which just kind of makes me think about it. Wasn't ROXXANE the prodigy? I mean, she's literally wearing a uniform that lets you know that she's the prodigy. Wasn't she the one that held all the titles in NXT? It's a little confusing to me. Anyways, she ends up losing to LYRA. But yeah, as LYRA walks up the ramp, she's attacked by Raquel, who ends up bringing her back to the ring. Bayley shows up to save LYRA from getting jumped. And interestingly, she blends a lot of moves and combos from some of her different runs in the W. I thought it was just like tripping, but my hypothesis is correct as Bayley ends up freaking out in the middle of the ring in front of a down LYRA and then runs out to hug the commentary team and production staff. This woman is like really going through it. Like she's seriously on some Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde stuff. She's changing in an instant. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of interested in this character. I'm not really interested in LYRA though. I think that this would have been dope if you hadn't already seen the slow craze that Naomi went through. But this is a cool, I guess, secondary. Then we see Io and Stephanie backstage shaking hands, talking about who is who and may the best woman win. And then the good vibes end up being crashed by ASUKA, who volunteers Kairi Sane to fight Stephanie. I'm not going to lie, I actually really enjoyed this face paint that ASUKA had. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really understand what's going on with these women. I mean, like, I dig the whole jealous friend / leader that ASUKA has morphed into. But why is Io on the show every week doing nothing? Like, how many matches has she fought this year? And then why does Stephanie go from fighting at every televised event, including NXT, AAA, and main roster PLEs in one weekend, disappearing on weeks on end? None of this makes any sense, but fine. At least we're getting more people. on TV. I mean, these are the only women that seem to matter on TV over here, but whatever. In the next segment, we get LA Knight catching Jimmy Uso at the locker room, who ends up declining his invitation to fight. Now, at first, I'm happy about this because I'm like, thank you. Keep LA Knight out of the bloodline vortex. But I already know that Jimmy will end up coming to save LA Knight later in the show. Like, I literally put that in my notes. I was like, oh, yeah, you can say whatever you want to say, brother. I know you're going to end up, by some metric, saving LA Knight. I'm not going to lie, the New Day are probably one of the only interesting things in the tag division on this show, as they all end up showing up, ranting about the dangers of the Mexican Destroyer. Kofi battles Penta in a match that further highlights what I've been saying. Penta and the rest of the Luchadors are solely present for a good match. I mean, these dudes were beefing with LWO when they first turned heel, talking about the New Day. And, I mean, look where they are now, 9 months later, beefing with another Luchador. They literally had, a sheet that had 15,000 signatures of people that wanted to ban the Mexican Destroyer. But, yeah, shout out to Penta, but he gets another W, a meaningless W if you had to ask me, but sure. We then probably see one of the worst backstage promos like I've probably seen this year. Seriously. We get the Usos just staring at each other for like 20 seconds as if their brains just fizzled out. I guess they forgot the line. I don't know what that was terrible. At the end of the day, we got some seeds that were planted of Jay morphing back into the tribal chief as he left a voicemail in the opening portion of the scene, likely intended for Roman Reigns, asking for advice. I don't really know why Jake is calling them the Bronsons, because only one of them has that name. I wish I could plead for like something that had more relevance going on right here, but this is what we're stuck with. We end up getting like a duplicate amount of scenes here with these guys, because some portion of the show they fit this in, and I'm only seeing this now because I'm like doing the review. During the show, I swore I didn't see this. Maybe I just missed it. I wasn't paying attention, but Jey Uso shows up and confronts LA Knight and says, you know what, he's in. After twice saying that he's out. Now, honestly, this was probably one of the better segments of the night. We had Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch showing up. Seth introduces Becky, who mentions that she has a lot to say, but she won't do it without AJ Lee being present, because she doesn't talk about people behind their back. AJ Lee then shows up with the punker, and then Seth agrees with AJ that she is indeed difficult to predict. But he warns Miss AJ that CM Punk has a habit of leaving. So she should err on the side of caution, as if CM Punk is going to leave her too and like end the marriage or something like that if they lose this match. Or if they're losing the match, I guess is what he's alluding to. It was kind of interesting to me. I was like, is this the only criticism that Seth has? I mean, technically, a lot of the other current stars could be guilty of leaving, like Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar and Naomi and AJ Lee. But Becky spits the truth as she mentions that Cody Rhodes is irresponsible. I'm sorry, that CM Punk is irresponsible for getting his wife involved in this beef. They go back and forth trying to assert who's correct when they're talking about how this played out to get to this position, because Seth Rollins starts talking about how even though him dealing with AJ Lee in his personal life is probably one of the best decisions that he's made, bringing business into this was a terrible decision. AJ Lee ends up slapping Seth, and then Seth says he knows somebody that'll put his hands on a woman. And now I do say his because he's likely that he's talking about the man. But Becky just looks at him like, boy, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Like, it was actually kind of funny. Becky's looking at Seth like he is crazy and is super hesitant, which ends up leading to Seth and Becky just arguing. I have mentioned before, and I will continue to mention, that I really do enjoy these versions of Seth and Becky. Like, look at them, they're matching and everything, leathered out. Becky ends up walking out of the ring as she is just so upset, and then Seth ends up chasing her out of the ring, and then gets chased by CM Punk. Becky ends up sneaking back into the ring and delivers a manhandle slam to AJ Lee. And then decides to slap CM Punk by her own, and then her and her husband hightail it. Again, like, they are some of the more interesting parts, or at least the most interesting characters in this show. I didn't really like the ultra serious Seth, so I enjoy what he and Becky are doing right now. It just makes sense. It just feels right. We get Dominic Mysterio in the Judgment Day in the clubhouse, and Dominic is Dom Two Belts. We do see his backstage interview right before he gets to the clubhouse being interrupted, and we see that the New Day is backstage beating the piss out of Penta. So, I don't know, maybe we're going to just fast forward and fast track to Penta possibly teaming up with his brother, Rey Fenix. This made me think about like the motion that Penta and Rey Fenix had coming in the following weeks. But I don't know what they've done recently. I mean, look at the momentum they had. And it's so crazy how quickly the WWE cooled these boys off. We get El Grande Americano and Dragon Lee, who end up putting on a solid match, which is, I mean, what would you expect from any match that includes Dragon Lee? But I don't really know why Dragon Lee just shows up and fights, but we get Kabuki Warriors versus Stephanie VAQUER promos. Like, I understand that, like, you know, Stephanie's got pretty good in English recently, but I don't know why. Like, I mean, what is it? Why does only the men not get that grace to speak? It's just the women that are allowed to speak? No one care? I don't know. Funny enough, in this match, we do get a second Grande Americano that shows up to help, and then AJ Styles shows up to help and mitigate the problem, which is the second Grande Americano. We then see a third El Grande Americano show up to help the first Grande Americano win. This was funny, though, that, like, as the scene came to an end, these boys recreated the Spider-Man meme. But, again, I don't really know where this is going. Maybe they're just stalling this Grande Americano thing and dragging it out until Rey Mysterio is healthy. I don't know what's happening. We then get one of the last few matches of the night, which was going to be Stephanie VAQUER versus KAIRI Sane. And, dude, I got to admit, Rhea Ripley is just collecting checks. I don't even understand why y'all cry about Roman Reigns not working every week when all Rhea does is show up, say the same thing week after week, and then go home. Like, literally, as Stephanie VAQUER is about to walk out to the ring, Rhea catches her and says, regardless of who wins, she's coming for the title. Oh, brother. Like, God. Like, we know. We already know that. We already know that, sis. We already know that, girl. What? Like, we already know. You didn't have to tell us. You could have stayed at home for this. Like, imagine, like, this woman's going to travel from city to city to show up for 30 seconds and provide this for the show. Say the exact same line. Then she goes home. As you likely would have expected, this was a good match. Stephanie ends up winning with this edited version of the SVP. I just made a video talking about how I disliked SVP, so I'm glad that she kind of made amends to it. We then get Asuka pulling up into the ring, and she looks like she's about to attack Steph. But Io shows up and puts the dog back on the leash. The crowd is chanting, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And y'all are just fools. I don't think y'all understand. That woman has already packed her bags up. She's already in the car on the road. Her 30 seconds of TV time were already used up. Cash has already been deposited into the account. We then get our time wasted after this segment with another segment of these women backstage yelling at each other in Japanese. So, in case you wanted to know, in Japanese, that there's dysfunction within this fan group, there you go. There's your segment. If you don't speak Japanese, this is a wasted segment. If you do speak Japanese, it's still probably a wasted segment. Again, we getting the same women week after week. There's like 50 women on NXT that are extremely talented and are just down there. And we have nothing going on the main roster with a bunch of these women being gone. Can we get a segment, at least somebody, 2-3 women back there being like, hey, man, I want a challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. I want a challenge for the Women's Championship. I mean, bro, let's think about it for a second. The only women right now with substance is Becky Lynch. Nobody cares about any of the other titles. Let's think about it for a second. We don't have a women's champion. We don't have a women's champion on Raw. Since Naomi vacated the title, we've all just been sitting around waiting. These two women, this is like their first time matching up. We got to think about it. They did do the contract signing, and then for the weeks prior to that, I mean, all we were doing was getting ASUKA and Io and Rhea. And then we had to look at the other women's title on SmackDown. Dude, nobody. I mean, dude, they can't even put a mic in front of Miss Tiffy. We're about to get Nia Jax inserted into the title picture, into the title. What in the world? Did I get dropped on my head? Anyways, we got Nia Jax inserted into the title picture. What are we talking about? The United States Championship is just throw it away. Literally, just put it back, wrap it up, ship it back to where you got it from. It's pointless. There's nothing going on with that championship over there. We've had that title revolve around Meat Chin from the night it was won till today. And none of us even understand who Meat Chin is. Maybe it's just me. I'm just going to maybe single myself out. I do not understand what Meat Chin's motives are. I understand that now she's recently been excited about the opportunity to become the United States champion. But, can we get a background by her? How did she come to be? What is this? None of us know anything about Meat Chin. So, obviously, none of us are going to get behind Meat Chin. Julia was on NXT fighting battles. She was intertwined on a bunch of different storylines. Now, she's a champion on the main roster and nobody cares? Alright, dude, whatever. Anyways, back to the clubhouse. There's obviously some tension building as if it's about to burst. Finn Balor actually mentions that if Dom needs help, don't come to the Judgment Day, since he's so content with El Grande Americano, and that these guys believe that El Grande Americano is going to ask for something from them, because he's not just doing all this helping and saving Dom out of the goodness of his heart. I could actually agree with that. I don't understand why El Grande Americano would just help Dom for no reason. We did get a video promo with the Bronze that just started off stupid. I mean, Bronson accepts that the Usos are the greatest tag team ever. And then he says the myth of the great bloodline and that the Usos being a great tag team will come to an end. What? These guys just say that they're the greatest tag team ever. Right after talking about the Usos being a myth. After the dude just congratulated them for being the greatest tag teams ever. Do these guys have CTE? They just lost at SummerSlam. And in the majority of the matches that they tagged up and teamed up, they've lost. Whatever. I believe that they should be a dominant force in the tag team division, and they should potentially hold the belts. Additionally, if Dom didn't have enough problems, I just remembered that Rusev is going to be challenging him for the Intercontinental Championship sometime soon. So, I literally thought I was losing my mind in real time because I was watching the entire show, and then Jimmy just shows up to team up with LA Knight, even though his brother advised him not to, and he turned down LA Knight's offer. But of course, like I said, when I was editing this earlier, I was like, oh shoot, there's randomly a scene that they reintroduced that says that, hey, he's going to join LA Knight. Again, I don't know if I missed it, maybe it was during a commercial, I don't know. But these guys are tagging up against the Bronze. I'll admit, this was actually a pretty good match. I mean, there's solid spots. The crowd was lit. And I got to give my hats off to the crowd out there in Massachusetts. But they were amazing. I will say. They were really good. They kind of took over some parts in the show, but they were really good. At the end of the day, the right people won this match, too. The Bronze are finally getting some W's. And, of course, right after the match, they end up jumping Jimmy Uso. Good for them. But this is not going to get anywhere. It's not going to take them anywhere. Because you already know what's going on next. Jay runs out to save his brother with a steel chair. And when Jay tries to help up his brother after he gets these big boys, out of the match and out of the ring, we see in the background LA Knight grab the chair that Jey Uso came out with to save the day. Jay ends up catching him in the act and tries to let him know that their beef is over with, and he requests that LA Knight shakes his hand. LA daps him up, and then where I was actually caught lacking. He ends up hitting Jay with the BFT at the end of the show. This is pretty much a really nicely done segment, and in its entirety, just to end off the show. I mean, last week I mentioned how tough that it will be to predict the winner of the Bronze versus the Usos, but now I think LA Knight's gonna get that badge. He's gonna end up interrupting. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. It's a solid episode in total. We typically like to write everything yay, nay, and somewhere in the middle is okay. It's actually an okay episode. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like a super hater, but I'm just picky. Y'all let me know what y'all think.